So in life, the bitter and sweet experiences of life, they ultimately teach us how to develop this buddhi to choose right over wrong. It doesn't come just like that. There are many births of failures and successes, many births of wrong decisions, many births of mistakes will finally come to a stage where we understand what is right and what is wrong. Buddhi Yoga is there. In 18th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, very nicely, Sri Krishna explains. So, Buddhi are three kinds, Raja Buddhi, Tamo Buddhi and Sattva Buddhi. So, it's the definitions also Krishna has given so very well in 18th chapter. It says the difference between Dharma, Adharma, Karye, Akarye, Bhaya, Abhaye, Yo Veti, the one which understand exactly as it is between Bandha and Moksha. So, four things Krishna says, Dharma, Adharma, Karya, Akarye, Bhaya, Abhaye, Bandham cha Moksham cha yo veti sa buddhi partha sattvaki, he says. That buddhi alone is a sattva buddhi, a pure buddhi, a correct buddhi, which can choose dharma and adharma correctly. Karya, akarya, what should be done and what should not be done, it can choose, discriminate correctly. Bhaya, abhaye, what will lead to fear, what will lead to fearlessness, means what will lead to mistakes and what will lead to right thing, it can discriminate correctly. And bandham cha moksham cha, that which will lead to liberation and that which will lead to bondage. That buddhi which can discriminate it correctly, yaveti or yaveti, buddhi sattviki, it is the sattva buddhi. And that buddhi the one possesses is a dhira. Because rajo buddhi is not like that. What does rajo buddhi do? It is unable to discriminate correctly. It says dharma, adharmam, both are there for that buddhi. Karya cha karya meva cha, both are there, karya and karya. But what happens? It does not understand it as it's supposed to be understood. Ayathavat prajanati. Ayathavat means it understands it differently from what it is said. Ya buddhi partha rajasi. So they know dharma is there, adharma is there, karya is there, akarya is there, but it's unable to understand correctly. Sometimes it confuses dharma is adharma, sometimes adharma is dharma, and gets confused. This confused buddhi is rajasi buddhi. And one is there which is worse than worse. What is that? Dharmam, adharmam, adharmam, dharmam cha. Adharma it understands as dharmam. Why? Tamasavrita, manyateya, tamasavrita, because his mind is completely clouded with ignorance. Absolutely ignorant fellow. Therefore, adharmam, dharmam cha, ya manyate. That thinks that adharma is dharma. That is the problem of buddhi, tamasic buddhi. And then what it does? Just does the reverse. Viparitanscha, sarvartham viparitanscha, ya veti buddhi sa tamasi. That buddhi which understands everything ulta. If a teacher scolds, that's a teacher is not good, he is not happy with me, he's always... Try to understand where the fault lies in us. That won't happen. That's not going to come. A sattva buddhiman will be like Nachiketa. Somebody scolds, he will sit down and think, why did it happen? Why? What should I do with it? And even then carries compassion in the heart. A Rajasi buddhi may misunderstand. No, my father does not love me too much. He always like this. He loves himself more, this, that, something and all he'll start. And the last one, I'm not even the son of my father, looks like he has sent me to death. My father is like that, like this. Carries anger, frustration. So buddhi is very, very important on this spiritual path. So this ability to discriminate between Preya and Shreya is the ability of a buddhi. A sattva buddhiman, Ashtavakra says, tathopadeshena kritartham sattva buddhiman. Whatever you tell a sattva buddhi person, as you tell, he will understand it immediately. Ajivam api jignasu parastatra vimuhyate. Whereas a jignasu, simply curiosity, no real reason. Simply go and test the teacher. Do you know this? Do you know that? Simply bother him. There is no interest in learning, testing the teacher. Such children will not learn anything in life. So this jignasa will not take you anywhere, even if you think of it for whole life. So sattva buddhiman, the one who has pure buddhi, is a dhira. He can discriminate. And after he discriminates, naturally he discards. What? Preya. He says, pleasant one I will discard because this is not going to lead to a lasting happiness. This is going to give me temporary pleasure and forever I will be miserable. So this is the very fundamental of life, fundamental of a spiritual life. Choosing correctly, deciding correctly, selecting correctly is the basic, fundamental on the path of spirituality. And then he says, Shreyo hi dhiro bi preyaso vrunite. Who chooses Shreya? Dhiro. Preyaso abhivrunite. Why does he choose? Because he knows that this is the actual preyasa. This is the actual pleasure, not temporary one. He knows, he discriminates, says, no, this is what will give me the ultimate happiness. Work hard for the exams, learn well, get good marks, ultimate happiness. Sleep through the year, try to cheat and pass. That is not right. So therefore, work hard. That is the nature of the dhira. What is Shreyo hi dhiro bi preyaso vrinita? Because he understands this is the real prayas. This is what will give you permanent happiness. Whereas what happens, preyo mando yoga kshemad vinite. The preyo path, the easier path, the pleasant path is chosen by whom? Mando, the dull-witted one, the unintelligent one. He chooses the easy path, pleasant path out. Why? Because he thinks that is where his yoga kshema will be. What is yoga? Yoga is that which we desire for. Kshema is what? That we want to store and save. These are the two things people work for in life. First there is a desire, then you act upon that desire and gather the whatever the desired object, and then spend all life preserving the desired object. That's all. Some psychologists said, the whole idea of happiness in the world is create a tension and then release it. And then you are happy. First create a tension in your mind. I want this, I want this, I want this. Somehow get it and then I don't, now I've got it, now I don't have any. Till the next tension arrives. All happiness in the world is nothing but release of tensions. All Preya Marga. Advertisement people do that, put up big billboards. You need this, they will say. When did I say I need this? You must have it. They will put the words in your mouth. And then a desire, the tensions arises. I must have it. Why? The billboard says I must have it. So I must have it. Now you'll go up and down, run this way, that way, borrow, this, do, everything you do to just get it. Till you get it, there is no peace. Once you get it, you enjoy it for some time, then the happiness is over after that. Then you start looking for some other thing to become happy. By the time they'll change the billboard, put up something else there. Next you need this. That's why somebody wrote during the COVID, economies are collapsing, GDP is falling. Why? Because people are not willing to buy what they don't need with the money that they don't have. Economies were prospering when people were buying things which they did not need with the money they did not have. They were borrowing money and buying. What? What they did not need. Today they are saying, I don't want to buy things because I don't have money. The economies are collapsing. What we needed, we always had enough money for that. But what we did not need, what we wanted, what we desired, we kept on borrowing. This whole idea of taking loans and enjoying life, credit cards, it has come from this Shreya Preya concept only. So Preya Marga is dangerous not just for an individual, it's dangerous for the entire country and the world. Whenever we choose prayers over Shreyas, it's very, very dangerous. So your spiritual journey begins with a very basic, choose Shreyas over prayers. If you can't do that, then don't study Upanishads any further. Because it's no use. It's no use. Since you could not develop the discrimination, could not develop the strength to discard the pleasant for the sake of the higher goals of good, you cannot study Upanishads. Upanishads is not going to benefit you here onwards. If you make up your mind, yes, I must understand this very basic principle of good life, spiritual life, and choose the right over the pleasant always, not one day, every day, every time, then you know that you are now ready to learn more. So if without finishing primary school, nobody will admit you into high school. Without having developed the idea of choosing Shreya over Preya, you cannot go and learn further of any Upanishad. Because it's a waste of time. Whatever we read from here, it's not going to make any sense. So go back and do mananam. That how are we going to choose always the right, even if it's painful, even if it's difficult, it could be as simple as waking up in the morning. There are two things. I can wake up a little late, nobody is going to question me. but it's not good for health, it is making me lazier, I'm giving into my temptations of the body, into the tamoguna. So what should I do? I should not allow on the very first day itself. Because the moment I open a little door, everything will come in. Therefore, always choose this. It could be starting with waking up in the morning to eating more breakfast or just feeling lazy. Some children are so lazy, don't go for lunch. All these are little decisions you have to make. But life is all about little things. All these little things add up to a large life. So begin here. Open my mouth to scold somebody or gossip. Remember, this is not Shreya Marga, this is Preya Marga. I feel like gossiping. These are not spiritual habits. So give up. Vishayan, Vishavatyaja. Give up like you will give up. Visha means poison. There is no waiting to give up poison. I'll have today, tomorrow onwards I'll stop drinking poison. Nobody says that. Immediately they give up because this is not good for your spiritual growth. So I'm spending so much time because Kathopanishad is so practical. It starts with the very basics of life, and after, if you get this right only, you can go ahead and do better things in life. So the third shloka we'll go to. Now that you've understood how important it is, and I can't say it in many more words. Sa tvam priyan rupanscha kaman abidhyayan nachiketo atyastrakshihi naitam srinkam vittamiyam avapto yasyam majjanti bahuvo manushyaha. He is praising Nachiketa now, Yama, because he has noticed that this Nachiketa could choose the Shreya over Preya. All temptations did not distract him. So he's praising Nachiketa, Yama. Says, Satvam, as you are, Priyan, Priya Rupanscha. Priyan means whatever is pleasurable and whatever appears to be pleasurable, Priya Rupa. Both of them, all those kaman, all those desires, abhidhyayana, by thinking deeply about them, Nachiketaha atyasrakshi, you have discarded them. You are so good, he is telling to Nachiketa, that all Priya and Priya Rupa. Priya means what you have immediately in your hand, you want to enjoy it. What is Priya Rupa means what appears to be good and nice. Both of them you have discarded. Why? Because you have thought well. Abhidhyayan. You are a dhira. You chose well. Na etam srinkam vittamiyam avapto. You have understood. What you have thought and understood, na etam, this one. Srinkam means it is a chain or a jewel, or also it's the path. So this path of vittam, that is wealth and prosperity and desires and fulfillment of desires, this does not ultimately give you fulfillment. Na vittam iyam avapto. This one, if you get, you don't become fulfilled. You don't become satisfied. You have understood this. And what did you do? Yasyam, what is this path? Yasyam majjanti bahuvo manushya. Though, this is the one, the reason for many people to get drowned. They sink and drown, Bhavasagara. This is the path which you have understood very clearly, that it is not the one which brings ultimate fulfillment to anyone. And this is the dangerous path following which many have drowned. Majjanti bhavo manushyaha. Many have drowned. You have understood this very well. So look at Yama, how he has tested Nachiketa and how he found Nachiketa fitting disciple, as a fitting disciple, because this path many people have followed and have only met with their ruin. They never got satisfaction, avapta. Now what else? He says, he further describes these two paths and says, Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyayacha vidyeti jnata vidyabhipsinam nachiketa sammanye natva kama bahavo lolupanta. He says these two paths, the Shreyas and Preyas path, are also known as vidya and avidya. Vidya means not just the education that you are getting, science, physics, maths, that is not called vidya. In fact, in our scriptures, that's called avidya. Vidya is only the knowledge of your own true self, is alone called vidya in our scriptures. So those who choose Shreya Marga alone can attain this vidya, the true knowledge of who you are. And all those who choose the Preya Marga, they only go to the avidya path, the knowledge only of the world and the surroundings, which is not the ultimate knowledge. So our scriptures are so clear. If you don't have the ultimate knowledge, you are not educated. Very clear. There is no doubt about it. There is no question. No, we will still consider you because you are illiterate, you know English and you know a few subjects. No, our Yama will say you are illiterate. So if you choose only the Preya Marga, it is useful only until the end of your life here, that's all. To eat your food, to have a house, to have a family, look after them, have some respect in society and keep doing your dharma. For only that sake, these degrees and knowledge is important. But after that, these don't apply. Now we have already crossed that discussion of what happens during the lifetime. We are now into discussions of what happens after one dies. So after one dies, this vidya of the world is no use. It becomes only this far and not further. From there on, your real savior is the true vidya, which is the knowledge of the self. That alone saves you. That is what he is telling. These two thoughts, the Shreya and Preya, are like vidya and avidya, like darkness and light, totally opposite and far from each other. Duram ete. These two are far from each other. It means they are not even anywhere close to each other that you can get confused. No way. They are quite opposite to each other. There is no question of you getting confused. I thought this is to be that and by mistake. No, you have no mistakes here. You have not chosen correctly. That is the truth. Under delusion, under attachment, you have chosen wrongly. That is the truth. You cannot get confused between the two. This is silver, that is gold. How can you get confused? So it's like that clear, like light and dark. Duramete, these two are too far off from each other. Viparite, and opposite to each other. One is like dark, another is bright. There is no question of confusing between them. Vishuchi, this path. Which path? Avidya and Vidya. The knowers of this path, Gyata, those who know that Vidya is one and Avidya is the other, they know that they are totally opposite to each other. They have different opposite results altogether, and the path that needs to be followed is totally opposite. Don't tell me that I thought this and by mistake I did that. No mistakes. You did not think. That is the truth. Or even after thinking, you did not decide correctly. That is the truth. Don't tell me that you made a mistake. You can't see an elephant and say, I just thought it's a goat. It can't be a goat. Either you decide not to think, or after thinking decide not to accept. If you want to really follow the good path, it's so clear. Just follow whatever it takes. If you don't want to follow, don't follow. Be clear. These people in between who theoretically imagine that they want to do good, but practically they don't have the ability to do good. And they are always confused. This is why I said, Duramete, Viparite, Vishuchi. These two are absolutely, clearly opposite to each other, very different. You can't tell me that you were confused. It's so clearly different. If you really have conviction, your clarity will be there. So these two are so opposite to each other, you can't get like salt and sugar, though they look white, but they're totally opposite to each other. You can't get confused between salt and sugar. Can an ant get confused? You put sugar in salt bottle, a salt in sugar bottle, you think ant will read the label and go? It just goes by its instinct. It knows this is sweet and that is salty. Like that, even though they may look alike, like the previous time I told, they come mixed. They cannot be differentiated at the first look. So, samparitya vivinakti. By careful observation, you can discriminate and separate the two paths. Because the two paths are so opposite to each other, like sugar and salt. They're so different from each other, you can't get confused. And therefore, the one who does that, all the gyatas, the knowers of this path have told that these are absolutely opposite to each other, very far from each other, they're not at all to be confused. And then he says, Vidya bhipsinam Nachiketa sammanye natva kama bhavaha, means many kamas alolupantaha. What he is saying is that you, Nachiketa, as you are, I understand, Nachiketa sammanye, I believe so, Vidya bhipsinam, you desire for Vidya. You don't want a Vidya, I have understood about you. Natva kama, because to you these kama, all these desires, bhavaha, of various kinds, alolupantaha. They could not distract you, tempt you. You were not tempted by so many of these desires. Therefore, I understand, Nachiketa, that you desire only for Vidya. You desire only for the true knowledge and you are not confused at all. Because he says there are people in the world who think they know. They have chosen the right thing. Yama knew such people exist and they will continue to exist even in Kali Yuga. So therefore he says this. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditap manyamanaha Dandramyamanaha paryanti mudha andhe naiva niyamana yathandhaha. Like the blind leading another blind. Andhe naiva niyamana yathandhaha. Like one blind is leading another blind. And what is going to happen? Dandravyamana paryanti mudha. Dandravyamana means in crooked ways because they can't see things right and straight. So they keep fumbling, falling, and this way, that way, this swinging. They walk. Paryanti, keep going round, round, and round. Mudha, fools. These fools who decide that no, we are doing the right thing, we know what is right. What do? They're like blind people leading other blind and going in circles, that too in a crooked way. Falling, getting up. So how can a blind lead another blind, you tell me? It's not possible. That's what our Yama is telling. So these people are who? Avidyayam antare vartamana. They are living under avidya. Avidya means these worldly desires and illusions and all worldly temptations. They're all busy with that. They're into that. But they say, Swayam dhiraha, panditam manyamana. They self-declare that I am a dhira, I am the intelligent one. I am the one who has chosen correctly. And they declare, I am a panditam, I am the knower of the truth. And what do? They keep going around in a circle, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, and along with them they drag 10 others also. Avidyaya mantare. They are under vidya, they are under the influence of illusions or delusion. Their desires are fooling them. And they think they know. And they are taking the right decisions. And then what happens? They get misled by their own attachments and mislead 10 others. So that is the problem with people who don't have discrimination, determination, no conviction, no clarity, and they just want to do things like that. At least I always say, better is our Duryodhana. When Mahabharata war was going to start, Krishna went all the way to teach Duryodhana, this is not the right thing to do. Why don't you give 5 villages and be done with it? They are happy. And Duryodhana says, no, I won't even give one tip of the needle's worth land to them. Forget 5 villages to them. And Krishna is very upset. So when he is preaching Duryodhana says to Krishna, Krishna says, what you are doing is adharma. This is not dharma. He says, Krishna, janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Janami adharmam nachabe nivritti. Don't waste your time on me. I know what is right, I can't do it. I know what is wrong, I can't stop doing it. So what can you do about it? Don't waste your time. That is what he tells Krishna. So what's the point in trying to improve a fellow who does not want to improve, has decided not to improve? There is no point in wasting time there. That is why Yama has carefully selected Nachiketa after much testing. That's why he's praising. See, you have chosen correctly. I tried to tempt you with many things. Despite that, you chose correctly because these are the temptations which have made many people drown in the ocean of samsara. And you have understood. And what did you do? You chose the right thing. Vidya abhipsinam, because you desired for the true knowledge. And then he continues to say, but you know, Nachiketa, you may not know, but I have met thousands and thousands and billions of beings. That is, out of his experience only he has written this 5th shloka. I have met billions before you. They think they are great knowers of the truth because they have done a lot of yajna yagas, they have gone to tirtha yatras, they have studied all the scriptures, by-hearted them. They can give any length of discourse on any of these Vedantic concepts. At the end, they have not redeemed themselves. Why? Because they have never chosen the Shreya over the Preya. They all did all this because that was prayers to them. So Yama knows, and he's saying, I have seen many before you. They think they are very clever, they are very smart, they are very Gyanis, but I know none of them are. They are blind people. In fact, they have led many more into this. But you are one who is absolutely clear and discriminating one. And therefore, you are right disciple. And he continues to explain. Na samparaya pratibhati balam pramadyantam vittamohena mudham ayam loko nasti para iti mani punah punah Vashamapadyate me. So this is where the Yama is letting out the secret. He says all these fellows who think they know everything but they have hardly attained any knowledge, all lip service, all intellectual understanding, but no real experience at all. What happens? Na samparaya pratibhati balam. Samparaya means the other world, the higher truth. Pratibhati shines forth. To whom balam na does not shine forth The other world does not reveal itself. The other truth, higher truth of life does not reveal to Balam. Balam means children, spiritual children. They may be grown ups, but their understanding of spirituality is very, very rudimentary. They are not evolved spiritually. They are physically very big or materially very achieved, but they are Balam according to Yama. They are all like kids. There is nothing they did know. For such people, this truth does not reveal itself. Pramadyantam vitta mohena mudam. And what do these Balams do? Who are like children in spirituality. They pramadyantam. Pramadi means the ability to do the mistake over and over again. That is a special ability called pramadi. So pramadyantam, they keep doing the same mistake again and again. Vitta mohena mudam. Why? Because they have been deluded by vitta. Vitta means not just money, currency, but it's also gold, it's also name, position, power, all kinds of desires of the world. Vitta mohena. Because of the delusion of these desires, mudham, they become fools. Because only a fool will repeat the mistake. Suppose you have burnt your finger in the fire once, why will you put your finger again? But if you are a fool only, you will go and put the finger again. Likewise, he says, those fools, the kids they are, though they know everything, so much of scriptures, and they have done enough service all their lives, but for their own sake, for their own happiness they have done. And he says, such people cannot know the truth, because they keep making the same mistake over and over again, because they are deluded by their desires. So all those people, karma kandis basically he is telling. In those days, he is referring to the people who have done karma kanda for the sake of heaven and higher worlds and things like that, wealth. So Vedas, as I told, had Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda. The Karma Kanda people believe in all these rituals. The Jnana Kanda people are above. They want only in the spiritual side, the philosophy side, the Vedantic side of the scriptures. But there's a huge fight. In fact, Shankaracharya, he arose on the scene when Karma Kanda had become too much in India. People had forgotten the Jnana Kanda part of Vedas. They were only busy doing rituals, yagas, balis. And Brahmins had captured the entire thing. They won't teach it to others. They were the sole, authority on this, monopolizing the entire thing. That is the time when Shankaracharya went up and he went all the way and fought a argument. He argued with Mandana Mishra. And from there he defeated Mandana Mishra, who was of the Karma Kanda side of Vedanta, of Vedas. And defeated him with the Vedanta, the Advaita Vedantic principles. And Mandana Mishra became a disciple of Shankaracharya afterwards, and he was established at the Sringeri Sharada Matam, Sureshwara. So that is how that came about. So people who are karmakandis, only busy with Tena Budam, what are Vitta? In old times, rituals were done to for Putreshana, then Vitteshana, then Lokeshana. Putreshana, I want a son so that he can continue my lineage, offer the Pitru, whatever Pindadanas, and I can continue to live in heaven for long. And for that son. Second, with all the wealth, cattle, gold, because I must to keep doing yajnas. I must spend a lot on yajnas. So for that I need wealth. And location. After having used these two, I must go to a higher heaven and enjoy there forever. These were the three desires which were driving all these people who were doing yajna yagas. That's all. Beyond that, they did not want to learn anything. They stopped there. So for such people, this will not happen. And then what he says, the second line says, Ayam loko na asti para itimani. These people think what? Ayam loko. This loka alone exists, this bhuloka, that YOLO, you only live once. This is all that exists. Let us enjoy and forget everything else. Make merry and be done. So those people, they think this alone exists, this world alone exists, so enjoy. Para, na asti para itimani, na asti para, the higher one does not exist. Why? We can't see it, we can't feel it, we don't know it, so therefore it doesn't exist. Most unscientific thinking that is. And what happened to them? Punah punah, vashama padyate me, they come under my control, punah punaha. Punarapi jananam, punarapi marnam, punarapi janari, jatare shayanam. These are the people who come in the control of Yama, others escape. Why? Because they are fooled by the desires of the world and they keep going in circles. And they don't believe, first of all, that another world exists. If you know another town exists, then only you can buy a ticket, train ticket and go and see that. Suppose I know that Delhi exists, then I will take a train ticket, go Delhi and see whatever I have to see. The Parliament House, the Qutub Minar and things like that. If I don't even know Delhi exists, how will I go? Because from Bangalore I cannot see Delhi, so Delhi does not exist. This is the kind of logic these people use. We don't know what happens in the next world, what happens next. We only know what it is today. Let us enjoy and be done. Don't waste your time doing other things. Such people don't reach anywhere, they reach to Yama only. And punah, not once, again and again and again and again. They keep coming back to Yama, and Yama keeps putting them in one of the lokas we saw and then bringing them back onto earth, and they start the cycle all over again. And this never ends for them. It goes on forever. This is the truth. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you believe it, you don't believe it, it doesn't bother Yama, because finally you are going to meet him. So, like ostrich, we can't bury our head in the sand and believe that the hunter does not come. That is the highest level of foolishness that we can show. That is why it says, Na samparaya pratibhati balam. This kind of foolish approach, very kiddish, childish approach. What, child hide and seek, how they play children. They'll close their eyes and think nobody sees them. This is their hide and seek. They're not even hiding behind a cupboard. They just close their eyes and think, I can't see the other person, so other person is also unable to see me. And parents will play along. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And the child is thinking, how well I've hidden myself. Nobody sees me. That is why childish thinking. Pratibha, na pratibhati balam. This will not be revealed to this kind of childish spiritual people. This has to come only to those who go ahead and realize themselves, realize that there is something that exists beyond death. Unless we know it, we'll be dying again and again and again. And every time we die, we'll be born again, then start from the scratch. Learn how to brush, learn how to walk, somebody has to clean you, somebody has to bathe you, feed you, teach you to talk. How horrible. We have already graduated. If we are readmitted to the first class again, how frustrating it should be. Why should I start from ABCD? I know all these things I've done before. So what? You're cursed. You have to start from ABCD again. You can't sit in that class for 10 minutes also if it's in primary school class. Because you know everything, you'll get restless. But the problem with these people is that they're willing to go back to the same class again and start all over again. But that is why they're called childish. The one who are discriminating ones, they are not going to suffer like this. So this is the very first fundamental principles of spiritual life that Yama is teaching to Nachiketa. What is that? Shreya and Preya, these two things come in front of every person at all times. The one who chooses Shreya becomes a sadhu, the one who chooses Preya becomes a scoundrel. Hiyate arthat, means all his achievements of life will be destroyed. He thinks he's achieving, but at the end, whatever money you achieved, does it come with you? Not a rupee you can take to the other world when you die. So for what all these things are? So that is why hiyate arthat, all these things are destroyed at the end with his demise. So choose the right one, the dhira, the one with the right buddhi, who knows there is something higher exists and we must put efforts towards that. We'll always choose Shreya over Preya. And because of that, such a person will not be distracted by the temptations of the world and desires of the world. And that person alone will be aware that another world exists and I must achieve that. That is the vidya that I desire for, not this avidya of the world. He alone will escape Yama's grip. All others will come again and again and again in the control of Yama. So this is the first part of the second Valli. But here is where the real Upanishadic thought process or the teachings are starting. So again I remind you, Upanishad means coming close and with conviction. These three things should happen. One, himsa, all your illusions of your life, what life is, what is to be achieved should be destroyed. Avasadhana, this grip of your mind and senses on yourself, which does not allow you to choose Shreya. It always pushes us to choose Preya. That grip should become loosened. That control of your mind and senses over yourself, your decision making should go away. You should be able to take a decision. Second. Third, Gati. Now there is a new process of movement that has started within you. Till now you are always looking outside, I have to achieve that, achieve this, achieve that. Now you are saying, no, I have to achieve this first before I go out and achieve that. I must achieve this first. What? To know who you truly are. And once you reach that, that is destination. Gati means also destination, Gati means also the path. So both it is within. So all this while you are looking outside for things, this is the time Upanishads teach us to turn inward. That is why Upanishad is called Brahma Vidya. It is knowledge of the highest self, Brahman. All others are Brahma Vidyas. Because they are there today, tomorrow they are not there, Shobhava. So remember this changes in your thinking pattern should now manifest in your being if you are reading Upanishads.